Good morning, good afternoon or good evening depending on where you are watching this from. I'd like to work you to do the supply chain academic, and this week we are going to talk about procurement and its role in the circular economy. Yes, I know it's a topic that we don't really understand. Governments trying to get us to be more resource efficient, and for years we have been doing lots of things in the supply chain to try and achieve this. Not really to good effect, to be fair. If we take a look at, let's just hide that out of the way, we'll take a look at a traditional supply chain. It's linear in the way it interacts. And this linear supply chain, you have raw materials, and then we have finished goods over here. And then we have our downstream elements, and then we'll have upstream elements over here. So what we have then in our supply chain is we'll have lots of nodes or supply chain actors sitting in the middle. Each one of those is producing some form of waste product. Now, the thing is with the circular economy is taking that waste product and turning it into cash. Okay, so every piece of waste has some form of value. And actually, every piece of waste should be able to be repurposed or reused in a supply chain context. Now, in the supply chain, what's happened is we've had a thing called industrial symbiosis. And what this is basically is lots of businesses coming together, okay? So what we might have is a logistics cluster. So businesses come together who have one common theme, one common good. So a good example might be a packaging company being co-located or located near a cardboard recycling company. This is industrial symbiosis and logistics clustering, things coming together. However, if we think about the global context and we look at, let's clear all that off there, we look at a supply chain and we take here Apple's supply chain, for example. So let's give it a lash with Apple, and we've got lots of manufacturing going on here, raw materials coming out of various places across the world. They all come in, they all get manufactured, and it's no surprise that these products are then distributed. Well, I don't know, where do they go? Here, here, here. Where do they not go? Okay, where do Apple's products not go? Pretty much everywhere. And if we have the majority of our manufacturing and reclamation going on here, we need it here, in this area, in China. How do we get all these products from these regions back? Because surely industrial symbiosis would mean all your manufacturing plants are going to be in these areas here, near to the product. Well, no, because we need to build in a circular economy, some sort of reverse network. The European Commission have been struggling for a while on the small electronics, and how we can make better use. Now, there is a bit of a black market going on with and you'll see lots of stuff where it comes out of Europe and it goes into Africa, and it doesn't go too well. People are burning products to get the plastics off of the material. So for example, you take a mobile phone here. If I wanted to dematerialize this or get rid of this, the easiest and quickest way is to set fire to it. All the plastics around it will melt, the wires will melt, and I'm just left with the metal, and then I can sell that on. It's not a very efficient way of doing things, and it's certainly, when we're looking at a circular economy, it doesn't help with any of this. Okay, so it's not really the way forward. So here we are, China. That's where manufacturing is taking place. We've already understood that products are coming out, so they're going downstream to customers. How then do we get them back? And this is the conundrum. So you can have consolidation centres. We can consolidate, we can break down the parts, and then once you've got those bits and pieces back together, you can then ship those back in to your respective manufacturing plants. Now, arguably, what it will do is it could create pools of resources in here. So inside the UK, for example, if you've got lots of people recycling these things, mobile phones, you'll have a pool of resources there that you could leverage to create manufacturing within your own country. Or you could create a secondary industry within the sector that resells and ships it back into supply chains in here. Effectively, what you could have is you could build the closed loop supply chain. So you have product going downstream to the customer, like so, and then when we've repurposed or recycled or whatever we've done in the UK, we could send it back upstream to the raw materials, to the manufacturing, and then we create this lovely little closed loop supply chain. So if then we look at this report here, which was done for the government, and I wrote the second chapter of this on procurement, I'm basically saying that whichever supply chain you do, whether you go closed loop, whether you go industrial symbiosis, whether you go circular economy, it doesn't matter which one you pick up, everything starts with procurement. Because procurement are the guys that are buying this stuff, and they need to have an understanding of where the products are coming from. So if I go back to our industrial symbiosis and we go and we take our nice linear supply chain, actually what we want to do here is we want to make this supply chain now a closed loop supply chain. Okay, so forget about the actors, we can have lots of actors going on here. Each one of those is going to push product into the reverse supply chain here. So it all starts with procurement. So we have procurement in here somewhere. So procurement is sat here buying stuff based on specifications and based on needs. But what procurement doesn't have at the moment is procurement doesn't have any visibility of what's going on in this supply chain. Procurement definitely doesn't have any visibility of what's going on here with the consumers. How do we then create this closed loop supply chain with procurement? Let's have a think about that for a second. What's the one thing procurement need in here to bring this to life? Arguably, what they need is information. So the procurement departments need to have complete visibility of everything that sits within each one of these nodes of the supply chain. Great in industrial symbiosis because people are coming together and creating their own micro areas of information sharing so that the collaborations work. But in a global supply chain, so if we go back to this scenario here where we've got, where we got people at one end of a chain and actors all over the world in varying industries. Remember, industrial symbiosis normally brings industries that are related or similar together. These could be different industries, so we could have high tech here, we could have food here, we could have automotive. Each one of these industries, we need to link them together, and we'll create some sort of cloud service up here that could pull all this data up there, and procurement departments can actually get some sort of visibility. So procurement departments can pull that all together in a circular economy context by having visibility of varying actors across differing supply chains, thus bringing a true circular economy to life. Because without the visibility, the procurement departments can't possibly make decisions on buying reused or recycled or repurposed equipment. an industrial symbiosis, although it goes some way to sorting that out, it really doesn't give us a robust enough solution on a global platform to affect change that will bring a greater supply chain surplus or profitability for everyone. So yeah, that's it for this one. So procurement is the key, I think, in terms of the supply chain. If you want some more information on my musings or ramblings or thoughts in terms of the supply chain, please head here to the All Party Sustainable Resource Group webpage. We've just relaunched this piece here, which is, get this and I'll point it out to you. My apologies, it's been quite tardy today. There. So link to link, driving resource efficiency across supply chain. I've written a piece now on procurement, and I really appreciate your thoughts on this because I'm quite passionate about procurement driving circular economy forward. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for listening as always, and yeah, speak soon.